So the past 2 weeks have not been good for Whoopi Goldberg after losing out on a major role for Disney Pixar's Toy Story 5 in 2026 for the return of Stretch after she was fired and removed from that role over at the Walt Disney Company, as well as getting fired entirely from DreamWorks for 2 major movie roles in Shrek 5 and the Donkey spin-off film that's currently in active development as we speak, and a lot more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, she is seemingly, as of late, taking a lot of her frustration based on what's been going on behind the scenes across many different studios out on the general public, out toward, of course, those that are opposed to a lot of things that the film industry has been up to in recent years. But what's interesting about this has a lot to do with Goldberg's overall behavior, her overall attitude toward the general public, and exactly how she is, like I said just before, taking it out on the people. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with the fact that we know that Whoopi Goldberg is by far one of the worst television personalities on shows, for example, like The View via ABC, which is run by the Walt Disney Company. You know, I think that's something that needs to be known to everybody out there. But what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with Goldberg's overall view of the general public and how her behavior truly is after she lost out on many different roles in recent weeks. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, one thing about Goldberg I will say is that she always likes to go on the blame game train like many other Disney hires. It's not a big shocker at all. However, with the Walt Disney Company under pressure right now after having multiple failures in 2024 and what looms for 2025, one major development going on now involves more to do with Goldberg expressing her frustration after she was fired from multiple studio roles separate from the Walt Disney Company, even though she also lost the Disney Pixar Toy Story 5 role. Now, Goldberg delivered the following. Look, I will tell you firsthand that this business is tough. The film industry is very unfair, especially toward people like me, because there are so many in this country that have an issue with powerful, brave women. I will be direct with everyone that I had many opportunities lined up for next year and, of course, for beyond. I lost some of those opportunities because I decided to speak my mind, and I decided to demand for what's best for myself as a person, you know? Being a brave woman and a powerful woman can cost you roles and offers in this complex business at times, because this country is so divided. This world is just so ugly that it needs fixing. I had many offers lined up that I really do believe would have served me well in my career, but they just didn't work out because many studios now in 2024, I believe, are beginning to feel frightened of that one side, you know? That one side of the country that is so afraid of powerful, brave women of color like myself. I just think many studios need to wake the hell up already and realize that this is the real world and that you are playing with people's minds, you know? As both a comedian, actress, and now talk show host, let me tell you that in 2024, I want to go back to my roots. It is the most unfair business it has ever been, since people are becoming louder and louder on social media across all of these sites. Women of color, I think, more often than not, are rejected by studio heads, and it's flat out wrong. And for the studios to pursue that and to try to make it work, I think just fall into minor criticism too easily. It's a tug of war right now between these big wigs and the people out there acting so strangely and just weird, you know? Just weird. I was talking this over with both Joy and Sunny earlier, but I really want to expand my career now that I'm in my later years. I think it's about time I pursue different things, and I had my fair share of arguments with many studios that didn't like what I had to say on live television, and I'm not going to stop saying what needs to be said and what comes to my mind. So guys, let me just stop here once more before I go on about what Whoopi is spewing out into the void. Now, we already know that Whoopi Goldberg is not taking things well after she lost her multiple million-dollar roles, by the way, multi-million-dollar contract deals through the Walt Disney Company for Pixar specifically. She's not entirely fired from Disney, but she did get fired from Disney Pixar for Toy Story 5. We talked about that a couple of days ago. But let go entirely from DreamWorks for Shrek 5, the Donkey spin-off film, and any other chance or opportunity at that studio, which is a very big deal. Now, she's taking this on the general public, blaming those that are quote-unquote opposed to powerful, brave women, such as herself, and it's just beginning to get to a point where this is how your typical Disney talking head acts on live television, alright? We already know that Whoopi Goldberg serves as a messenger of Bob Iger. She serves as a messenger of the Disney executives and their ongoing ideology, their agenda, whatever have you, that they are trying to shoehorn into whether it's Lucasfilm, Marvel, Disney live-action remakes based on the animated classics, Pirates of the Caribbean reboots, which by the way are looming for the remainder of this decade, and much more that they're trying to accomplish. And Whoopi Goldberg, yes, serves as one that approves of all of that. She is all for it, make no mistake. But moving on, she goes on to conclude, and if and when I find a proper studio to work with that is willing to understand me as a person, then I think I will be living proof, spot on, that the industry is finally moving in the right direction. And hey, look, I support Mr. Iger, but he's got some work to do on improving Disney, okay? We had arguments, I will be clear about that, and we shared some serious differences over time. But I think other studios can learn from Mr. Iger, and at least what he is trying to do with representation in film and television. To people that don't like what I say on television, they just don't get it. They just don't. So, she's really having a very tough time accepting that a lot of studios out there want nothing to do with Whoopi Goldberg anymore. Basically how she acts on television, what she says on television, such as The View and other programs out there, not a big shocker at all. Now, does this necessarily mean that a lot of other studios are beginning to turn the tide? Not entirely true. You have some exceptions here and there with every other studio, but they're still embracing that overall agenda, that ideology that just shoots themselves in the foot, obviously. But at the same exact time, I think eventually, if you're going to have failure after failure, box office disaster, one after the other, or anything to do with ratings disasters, you can't really survive it after years. They have to make a decision to finally drive back to common sense. That's just how it's going to have to be. So overall, we have Goldberg yet again going on the blame game train, blaming misogyny and blaming this and that against the general public for why she's in the position that she's in right now, where she's basically, yes, stuck on The View. That's basically her only outlet right now. She has no opportunity out there to really pursue a major movie role, whether it's on screen or doing voiceover work like how she was supposed to do with Disney Pixar's Toy Story 5 or DreamWorks' Shrek 5 / also the Donkey spin-off that she lost out on. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about their thoughts about Whoopi Goldberg and everything to do with all the different studios in the film industry. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.